Me watching a Saw victim mutilate their own body, get ripped apart, and tear out organs to survive. Me watching a completely normal and safe fake surgery from a TV show like Grey's Anatomy.
Hey, what's going on guys? It's your BFF Snowy Oreo 663 here, right now. And I managed to see Saw X last week, much to my excitement. If you're wondering why the audio sounds really tinny and echoey, that's because I just moved to a new place and I haven't really gotten my whole audio thing set up yet. So if you hear some echo, that's why. And also, this is the reason why I haven't made a Haunting in Venice review. I did see it a couple weeks ago, but that was right in the process of me moving, so I didn't have enough time to finish the review. It was good, 8 out of 10. That's all you're gonna get from me. Moving on. I can't lie and say that I've been a Saw fan all my life. In fact, I remember Saw being one of the horror franchises that scared me the most in my memory. However, once I got older and got desensitized to much of the gore, I found its never-ending soap opera style plot to be very enjoyable. Before I continue too far, I should say that I will include some spoilers for the previous 9 Saw films in this review, as it's practically impossible to talk about Saw X without mentioning those. However, I will not discuss spoilers for Saw X until the end, where I will place a warning on screen first. Okay? Great. Despite the last 3 entries to the franchise not being my cup of tea, I still held out the hope that this movie would inject some life back into the series. How did it fare? Well, I really enjoyed it. It's still a Saw movie, embedded in the confusing plotline established from the rest of them, but this movie really feels like a return to form. Taking place sometime after the first film but before the third, this movie follows John Kramer as he heads to Mexico to seek treatment for the brain tumor. After finding that this whole thing is just a scam, he sets out to punish those involved, and boy, do they get punished. The Saw series is known for its traps, and this one has some great ones. The gore here may be the most intense of the whole series. Particularly, the trap set for Valentina had me squirming a little in my seat. Something that many of the Saw films lacked were victims in the traps who deserved to be punished. While I would argue that no one deserves these kinds of torture traps, Saw X does give us victims who are bad people. Unlike poor Joyce from Saw 3D, I'll never get over that one. I think that some people will be disappointed by the first trap in the movie, as the ending of that scene makes it feel extremely pointless. I won't say anything more about it, just for the sake of spoilers. I avoided all the trailers for this movie, much like I do for all movies I'm planning on seeing, so I was completely blown away to see Amanda Young returning, after her death all the way back in Saw 3. Even during the last 2 movies, Amanda was never mentioned. Her overall impact on the story greatly lessened after her death, despite all the flashbacks. I miss this psycho and her backwards philosophy. This movie overall feels like it's honoring every Saw film that came before it, minus Spiral and Jigsaw, but we didn't really lose anything there. While honoring those, it also feels different from every other movie in the franchise. For once, John Kramer is the main character, and he's directly involved with the trap plot. Although, almost to a fault, John isn't outed as a serial killer to society yet, so I don't know why he's so comfortable showing his face to the victims, especially when he has the Billy puppet to protect his identity. Just felt a little off to me. We also don't have a cop plot to follow here, a relative first for the series. Again, that's not a complaint. The actual trap plot of the movie doesn't start till almost an hour in, which offered a nice look at John Kramer's character before we get into that. I honestly love that choice. I liked getting more into the headspace of this hypocritical serial killer and seeing his life after his cancer diagnosis. I think it left a bigger impression than those that just barrel right into it without making us care about anybody. The rest of what I want to say will involve spoilers, so if you want to avoid that, skip to this time. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Hoffman is back. I know it was only a mid-credit scene, but it felt amazing to see him again, as well as the shit room. I was grinning from ear to ear when that happened. I couldn't help but wonder if they retconned Jigsaw with this ending, as Logan doesn't make any appearance, nor was he referenced. I understand that Gordon wasn't mentioned, but he was kept secret from the other apprentices. But if they did decide to get rid of Logan, you wouldn't see me complaining. That whole movie was stupid. I think Cecilia was a fantastic antagonist. It takes a lot to make one sympathize with a serial killer, but my god, they did. I thought she was developed really well. She had multiple sides to her. She kept encouraging her co-workers to fight through their traps, but then turned on them in an instant if it let her get her revenge. I actually audibly gasped when she killed Gabriella. It was extremely gripping to see Amanda's reaction to that as well. And don't get me started on how she was content with killing a little boy. That whole ending scene with the blood waterboarding trap was fantastic. I was so entertained by it all. I think that her ending fate wasn't cruel enough. While Valentina and Mateo got horrific endings and went through terrible pain, Diego barely surviving after mutilating his arms, and Gabriella permanently scarring her face, Cecilia's final punishment of breathing in toxic gas and getting stuck with her head in a door was pretty underwhelming. Could we put her in a brazen bowl, and spare poor Joyce? I'm still stuck on that. Overall, I really enjoyed Saw X. If you weren't a fan of the other films, you probably won't like this one. However, if you're able to stomach the gore and want to celebrate a great horror franchise, you'll have a wonderful time. It's not perfect, there are obvious flaws, but damn, this movie makes me smile in that dark, messed up way. I'm giving this one 7.5 fun 10 box feeds out of 10. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you liked it, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a fun comment. I try to respond to as many as I can. With all that said and done, I'll see you in the next one, and remember, appreciate your life because it's too short to take for granted. Bye!